even I, the moral leader, even I struggle with this. So if you too struggle with this, then we're in good company. And so I remember talking to this Orthodox rabbi. I was writing a scholarly book. I was telling him on the history of sex in film. He found out about it. He said, heard you're writing pornography. I said, I'm not writing pornography. I'm writing this book about pornography. It's not pornography. It's like the study of pornography. And he said, well, I'm sure it's all very academic, as you say, but we can't have that in our community.
Oh, I know all about this story, yeah.
No Orthodox community will put up with this. It's tameh. And he got this really disgusted look on his face when he said the word tameh. And so, what does the word tameh mean?
Impure.
Okay. I'm glad we dealt with that, because a lot of people were like piling into the chat room saying, Levi, what does tameh mean? So, in the song Desperado, the Eagles say that the Queen of Hearts is
You want to know what it would mean on the street level?
Yeah.
You're a sick fuck.
Please, what's the language? You got impressionable going with us. So, in the song Desperado, the Eagles say that the Queen of Hearts is always your best bet. Is that really true? As Dennis Prager says, the heart stinks as a guide to life. Stinks, it's the worst. It is better to be guided by a Ouija board than by your heart. I'd rather you had a tarot card reading to tell you what to do than to let your heart determine what you do. The heart is wonderful for intimacy, for if you love this piece of music rather than that one, it's perfectly fine if your heart determines what music you like, what food you like, what hairdo you have. Let your heart determine it as long as you live. There's a guide to life, the heart stinks.
What does that have to do with this week's Parashat?
Because the Torah is the guide to life. The Torah is life's compass, it's not the heart. So even if the Eagles say, Queen of Hearts is always your best bet, not necessarily true. Which made me think, as I was preparing for this week's show, I was listening to some nice soft music in the background, including Start Me Out by the Rolling Stones. So it seemed like kind of incongruous music to study Torah by, and I might not be going about my Torah study the right way, because it talks about you can make a dead man come. And I'm thinking, how am I listening to this and studying Torah? It doesn't seem quite right. So is a Jew permitted to listen to Goyish music about forbidden sexual relationships? Is he permitted to do this while studying Torah?
Halachically, I'm sure we can find some very strict poskening rabbanim who are going to say that that you can't do it because, like, you know, it's a kind of promiscuity or whatever, you know. But I would say it's more along the lines of last week's parsha, which was Kadoshim to you. It says you should be holy. Holy means to separate yourself. Separate yourself from these kind of impure things, impure thoughts. So it's more of less of a halacha, right? Where you must do it, but it's more of an instruction of what you should do.
Yeah.
It's Levi, try to separate yourself from this profane, from the mundane, right? Separate yourself from those things. Right? If you don't, have you done a transgression? Not necessarily, but it's staining your
neshama.
Your soul is being affected by it, right? But hell, I'm going to say I do it too. I listen to Goyish music.
Because I would have fallen asleep studying the Parsha if I didn't have some rock and roll music.
Yeah, you know, we're watching the Laker game. Let's be honest here, right?
Yeah. You know? We're not just pure Torah scholars 100% of the time, 24/7. Yeah. Occasionally we take in a little Goyish entertainment, we listen to a little Goyish music.
Yeah.
We even have some Goyish friends, do a little Goyish Alexander technique. But basically everything else is pretty much Torah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've got my mind made up. I need to feel your touch. I'm going to run to you. Brian Adams, coming at you. So, why is the Torah so obsessed with not having priests serving in the temple with testes squeezed, crushed, torn, or cut? How did so many priests in ancient times suffer these indignities?
Who said that they did?
What about cysts on the gonads? Would that prohibit a priest from serving? What about a rabbi doing Torah talk if he said cysts on his gonads?
I gotta fill you in. I have cysts on my testicles.
Okay. And I didn't give them to him.
And I talked about it at our last show. That's why you brought it up. Our last show, I went in and I got diagnosed, and they found 2 cysts on my right testicle. So,
are you better now?
No,
no.
They haven't.
Did the female doctor's touch make them go away, or did she make them grow bigger?
It doesn't work like that. You know what happened though? At the same time, I went in for because I'm desperate for money.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that too when we're done.
Okay.
I'm going to make an appeal.
Yeah.
Stick around because I'm going to beg you guys for some cash. I found a way to. I'm having a hard time getting a job.
Yeah.
So I decided. I found something that was do a clinical trial, be a guinea pig for a clinical trial. So I'm like, hey, this is something I can do.
Yeah.
Right. So they said, okay, see, because I'm OCD. Right. You know what that is? OCD there. Okay. So I'm very OCD. Okay. So they said, okay, we need OCD people because they don't really get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been diagnosed with OCD. They said, okay, we want to test out a drug. We have a potential OCD drug. We want to test it, but here is what the drug company requires. If you're going to be a clinical guinea pig, a test guinea pig, you have to have been on another drug first for 6 weeks minimum, right? And then you can compare the new drug that they have against the old one, and that's what they want. So first they had to put me on a medication for 6 weeks just so I can get qualified to begin this thing. And I'm not getting paid for that part. I'm only getting paid once we get to the new drug. So first we have to give me free drugs. So they said they're going to start me off with the Zoloft. Whatever. Okay.
The mood-altering drug. The mood elevator.
Right. Let me tell you how this one works. I need to take 100 milligrams of this thing a day, right? But they said, guys said, okay, you know, the shrink said, okay, let's start you off at 25 milligrams.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I had just gotten, at the same time, I had just been diagnosed with 2 cysts in my testicles. So they gave me Vicodin. Right?
Yep.
Because that's supposed to be a painkiller, right? I go on Zoloft for 1 day. I take 25 little milligrams of it, right? My balls are numb. My entire genitalia is off the map. I can't, like you're saying, like, you know, feel your stomach, make it, nothing. I can't talk to it anymore. It's like it's not there anymore. It's gone.
That's good, right? Because they were hurting you.
I don't need the Vicodin anymore.
That's
the Vicodin is put away. I haven't had the Vicodin since because the Zoloft kills the problem. Like within,
you got no feeling down
there.
there.
It's a nuclear bomb down there against Vicodin. It's just like, you know, trying to kill the pain.
So have you ever come
There's no pain when you're numb and you're. Do
you have any sinful impulses?
I can't call up nothing.
Wow, that's great.
I thought that was one of the side effects. Was
it's a side effect.
Decreased sexual desire or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say gone. Wow. Right. So the Zoloft did that, but you know, some really terrible things came along with it. Like, I started getting fevers, muscle aches. I got fevers, muscle aches, diarrhea, continuous terrible stomach aches, and I was like, I go back to the shrink elastic, and I told him all the side effects. He goes, I got more bad news. We got to up you in dosage. Because we got to get you up to 100. So for the weekend, I went up to 50. I'm done with Zoloft, man. I am done with this drug. I took the thing one time, right, at 50, which was Friday, Shabbos morning. I could not get out of the bed. I was like, it was like nailed to the bed. I was like this the entire day. I could not move. This thing killed my ass. And when I got up, I took another one of them. And that was the way it was on Sunday. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with Zoloft. I can't do Zoloft. So they're going to put me on a different drug next time. I think it's going to be Paxil. You know anything about Paxil?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so I'm already hearing terrible things about Paxil from people who've been on it. And they go, oh my God, it's going to be worse than Zoloft for you. And I was like, I may not be able to do this clinical thing just because these drugs hit me so hard. 25, 50 milligrams, I can't handle it. And I'm thinking part of the problem might be because my resistance to drugs and alcohol is so low because I haven't had a drink in 28 years. Not one drink. So this stuff might hit me like rocks, where somebody who has... Well, you don't drink at all either. Do you ever take drugs like these?
Nah.
You're like...
Not straight.
Right. I'm thinking, you know, people who drink, you know, might have a little bit more of a tolerance to these kind of effects. I don't know. It's just my own theory. I want to discuss that with the shrink. But that's what I'm doing. Why did I bring this up? Oh, because you asked about my gonads. I don't even know they're down there anymore. Right? I could have a vagina down there for all I know. I really don't know what's going on down there because the Zoloft took it out of the picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is the Torah so obsessed with priests not serving in the temple if they have testes that have been squeezed, crushed, torn or cut?
I really don't know. I can't. You have to ask God that question.
Okay.
But you know,